Duck is an amphibious truck developed by the Allies in order to bridge the gap between the troops who were fighting after a landing and the ships who were giving the resupply. The volume of stores that were necessary meant that you could no longer rely on small coasters that dried out on the low tide, and you had to have big ships. In order to get the volume of stores ashore, they needed this sort of capability, and these ducks served their purpose beautifully. After the Normandy landings, 60% of the stores were coming ashore by duck for months. The duck is based on the original GMC 2.5-ton truck, the CCKW truck. A yacht designer in New York was commissioned to make it waterproof, to make it floatable, and he put the long front on to create buoyancy as you go down a ramp, and he put a flotation end at the back so that as you come out, the back doesn't dip under. Originally, it was perceived by the military as less than successful because they thought boats could do the job that the ducks could do, until they were proved that the ducks actually had a better capability in marginal conditions than a boat. The duck could keep working into worse weather and come ashore with a load, which a boat had to stop in the surf on the shore. So the duck proved its worth early on, and the military loved it, not least because the army liked the idea that they were in charge from start to finish, rather than having to depend upon the Navy to do the boat work.
Some ducks are being put to good use in London, where they offer an alternative tour of the city.
And whilst we're going to see, obviously, some of the great sights, you've got the pamphlet there, so you'll know what's in store for us.
The engine is the standard GMC 6-cylinder straight 6 353. It's the standard GMC engine. The whole duck drives through the same gearbox, the same steering as the GMC truck. I've got the capability for a winch if I need it, and I've got capability for pumping the inside of the hull, but it all depends upon the engine, and it's very, very reliable. Someone recently referred to it as a stalwart engine, and it certainly is. It's always been very reliable as far as we're concerned. A question I'm often asked is, what sort of fuel consumption do we have? My standard reply is, when the tank is empty, I fill it up, because you don't have a duck if you're worried about economy. If you want economy, have a Mini. The nominal figures are 0.9 of a mile to the gallon on the water and 7 miles to the gallon on the road. In practice, because I live in London, because we play around, we know consumption is considerably higher than that. But as I started off, we haven't got this for economy. If I couldn't afford to run it, it wouldn't be fun to run. Like the original truck, she has the capability of drive on all axles. When you're climbing out of the water, you need all the help you can get. It's not too bad when you have a hard slipway, but sometimes when we're coming out over rock or sandy areas and so forth, then you really do need all the help you can get. When you're driving along a road, such as the river, dead flat, you normally have so many revs on, you're driving at a certain level. When you're going up a hill, you always have more on. And there is this transition which you have to get over to the driver, that you're going suddenly from flat to a hill, something which on a car happens naturally to you. But you have to remind yourself, as you come to the edge of the water, you don't lift off, you push your foot to the floor. It takes a bit of getting used to. At the back we've got a rudder, we've got a propeller, just like any other boat, but in the duck they're in a tunnel, so that if you ground the back end of the duck, you don't write your propeller and rudder off. Very cleverly thought out. The windscreen, when it's up, slopes so that when you ship water, it goes over the top, doesn't bang against the windscreen. Got a splashboard at the front there if you're in surf. The one oddity about the engine is that it runs backwards, in as much as the radiator grill is inside the duck and air is ducted forwards past the engine and then blown through the radiator, and it exhausts out the sides here. There's pumping capability. The pumps nominally can handle 60 tons an hour. If you're taking more than 60 tons an hour, best thing to do is abandon ship.